Welcome back to AI PM Simplified, the channel where we break product management down to what actually matters. Last time we learned what a product is. Today, we answer the question everyone asks. What does a product manager actually do all day? You've probably heard it. A product manager is the CEO of the product. It sounds powerful, but it's wrong. Here's why. A CEO has direct authority. They can hire, they can fire, they can give orders. A PM has zero direct reports. Nobody on your team works for you. So the reality looks different. You sit in the middle, design, engineering, business, users, and you lead all of them through influence, data, and trust, not command. Here's the trap. Thinking you dictate exactly how the product looks and works. You don't. Your team builds it. You guide them. You can't order an engineer to build faster. You have to convince them why it matters to the user. So if you're not the boss, what exactly are you responsible for? Here's the cleanest way to think about it. You are accountable for the why and the what. Engineering owns the how. Design owns the experience. But the reason we're building this, and the thing we're actually building, that's you. You sit right where business, tech, and user experience overlap, and your job is to align the whole team on the correct problem to solve. Take Spotify. Their PMs didn't code offline mode, but they identified the what, listening without Wi-Fi, and the why. People commute underground, on subways, with no signal. Now the hard part, if the product fails, it is your fault. And the trap here, thinking a PM's job is just writing Jira tickets for engineers. It's so much bigger than that. So what does that job actually look like, day to day? It runs on a loop. Product management is not a straight line. It's a continuous operating loop. 4 stages. Turning over and over. Discover. Find the right problems. Define and prioritize. Choose what to build first. Deliver. Build it with your team. And measure. See if it actually worked. Then back to the top, again and again. Think about Duolingo. They discovered that users are dropping off. They prioritize a streak feature. They deliver it. Then they measure, did retention actually go up? And whatever they learn feeds the next loop. Let's walk through each stage, starting with where it all begins. Discovery. Discovery is talking to users to find the root problem, and this is where it gets tricky. Users will ask you for features. Ignore the feature, find the need. Remember from episode 1? Products solve needs, not wants. Someone says, I want an export to Excel button. That's the tip of the iceberg. Below the waterline, the real need. I need to look smart in my weekly meeting. So, look for problems that are frequent and painful. Another example, a user asks for faster export. But the real need, sharing data with their boss without forcing a login. Here's the trap, building exactly what the customer asked for without ever understanding why they asked for it. Okay, so you found 100 real problems. Now comes the hardest part, choosing. Here's the brutal math. You'll have 100 good ideas, an engineering capacity for 3. So your primary job? Saying no to good ideas, not bad ones. Good ones? And to do that without drama, you use frameworks to remove emotion from the decision. The simplest one, value versus effort. High value, low effort, that wins first. Look at Swiggy. They delayed a fancy, complex AR menu feature to quickly ship a simple reorder your last meal button. Low effort, huge value. And the trap to watch for, the hippo effect. That's when priorities get set by the highest paid person's opinion instead of the data. Don't let the loudest voice win. Let the framework win. You've chosen what to build. Time to actually make it and guide the build. This is the execution phase where the product gets built and your role shifts. You protect the engineer's time and you unblock them. You clarify the requirements and the edge cases. While the team codes a checkout page, you're the one figuring out the tiny details, like exactly what error message shows when a credit card gets declined. But here's the big one, the trap that trips up almost everyone. You are not a project manager tracking Gantt charts. Don't confuse product management, which is strategy and ambiguity, with project management, which is timelines and deliverables. Different jobs. Speaking of confusing job titles, let's clear up the one that confuses everybody. Wait, before titles, one more skill, and it might be the most important. A PM is a translator. You speak 3 different languages every single day. To the business, you speak in revenue and retention. To engineering, you speak in technical constraints and APIs. And to users, you speak in benefits and simplicity. Same product. 3 totally different languages. Picture explaining a server migration to your CEO. You don't say we're upgrading the database. You say we're making sure the app doesn't crash on Black Friday. The trap? Using technical jargon with users or marketing speak with your engineers. Wrong language, lost room. Now, those job titles, PM, PO, PGM, let's untangle them. PM, PO, PJM, 3 acronyms people throw around like they mean the same thing. They don't. Though heads up, in many companies, the PM and the PO are the same person. The product manager focuses on the market, the strategy, the why. The product owner is an agile role, focused on the team backlog and execution. And the program manager coordinates multiple projects and timelines. Here's how they work together. The PM decides, we need a loyalty program. The PO writes the specific user stories for it, and the PGM makes sure marketing, sales, and tech all launch it on the exact same day. The trap, assuming these titles mean the exact same thing at every company. They absolutely don't. So that's the role on paper. But what does an actual day feel like? Let's get real. Let's be honest about this. It is not all glamorous strategy and Steve Jobs' keynote presentations. You live in docs, spreadsheets, and Jira. Here's a realistic breakdown. 20% strategy and data analysis. 40% meetings and stakeholder alignment. And another 40% writing specs and testing. Picture the calendar. Cross-functional alignment in the morning. A status sync. Then you block off the afternoon to write a password reset spec doc, an engineering stand-up, and finally, analyze user data. Yeah, that's the real example. 3 hours of back-to-back meetings, followed by 2 hours writing a highly detailed document about how a password reset email should actually work. The trap? Assuming your whole day is spent on high-level strategy, it won't be. So, let's pull it all together and look at where we go next. So, there it is. What a product manager actually does. PMs own the why and the what. You lead through influence, not authority. And your core loop is always turning, discover, prioritize, deliver, measure. Episode 1, we covered what a product is. Today, the PM role. And next up, Episode 3, user research. Because here's the question that starts everything. How do we figure out who our users actually are? Find out in the next one. If this helped, subscribe, and I'll see you there.